Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the VGFightSchool channel. So today I have a very short commentary and we're going to be visiting a few potential villains that may appear in Gotham Knights, and we'll just kind of walk our way through different Batman themed games, basically the Arkham games. We're going to talk about some of the villains that have been there. We're going to look at even the villains that have been shown in the gameplay and trailer reveals, basically Mr. Freeze and the Court of Owls. But there's something really interesting about this villain that I really want to highlight, and that is basically the Riddler, because he has appeared in almost all the Batman games that we've seen so far. In fact, if every Arkham game, could not be what it was without the Riddler in a sense, because you just basically had this one villain that just scattered himself all over the map and marked the entire city of Arkham, or the entire gameplay environment, and you had to deal with him in some capacity or the other. And so this is something that I feel like if Warner Brothers Games Montreal is going to bring him back to the game, they really do have to reimagine the character, or at the least remove the character from the entire game. So let's go back and look at the Riddler. Let's look at what purpose he serves in the Arkham games. So basically, in regard to a puzzle or treasure type gathering system, I think what Rocksteady did with him was quite a genius way of extending the gameplay of their titles, going to find all the riddles, or the trophies from wherever it is, that he's hidden them, or wherever they've been hidden across the map, really does provide players with something that they can do as the game is, still in a place where they've beaten the story and they want to complete tasks. So completionists do have, something that really does fulfill that desire for them, which is more activities in the game. They also employed this same, structure in other Arkham games, and I was able and fortunate to beat basically the Arkham Knight game and get all the Riddler trophies basically in the main story mode. Now, in order for me to be able to finish this game and get one more Batman costume in Arkham Knight, I found out that I actually had to do this same task over again on the New Game Plus, which I said to myself, well, we're probably not going to be visiting that for a very long time. And I think that's actually a fair assessment, because for most of you who've played the Arkham games, you can relate to the fact that the Riddler is a very annoying character. Now then, let's talk about Warner Brothers Games Montreal and why the Riddler is even coming up with a development firm like them. Well, if you guys remember, in Batman Arkham Origins, they basically tried to reimagine the character of the Riddler from an origin perspective, and still though, he still felt a lot like the Riddler when you played the game. They did their best. This was a game that they were making in the shadow of Rocksteady, basically under the sanction of the publisher, just to have a Batman game before Arkham Knight was going to be released with the new consoles. And I think they did the very best work that they possibly could. Now again, another thing too is the game director at that time, the creative director of Arkham Origins, is no longer in the studio. What we have now is we have another person that's going to be at the helms of this, and that person, Patrick Redden, may have a different direction that they want to go with the Riddler. And I'm hoping that this direction that they want to go will be most likely, and I would say in my preference, to remove the character entirely from this narrative that they're going into, even though it's a hard thing to do, because the Riddler is a very significant character and is a very significant, I would say, tool when it comes to you, basically extending your narrative, or when it comes to you having more value in your gameplay. I think the Riddler is a very good character to leverage. But here is my little qualms that I have. If Warner Brothers Games Montreal has the guts to go ahead and say, oh, by the way, we're going to kill the Batman, I think the least they can do for fans is either remove the Riddler or reimagine the character, basically in a way where we don't even believe that it's the same Riddler that we've dealt with. And that will mean they're going to have to be very creative, and they're going to pull from the flurry, or I would say the plethora of narratives and storylines that they've actually pulled from to put this game together. Because if you look at this game, it's not following a traditional path like, say, how Rocksteady prefers to do their games. If you notice, Rocksteady enjoys the aspect of their traditional, source material following, which is basically how they structure their game to be very close to the source material, not necessarily 100%. They also put their own spin, but in the case of Warner Brothers Games Montreal with the Gotham Knights approach, it seems like they've taken a little bit more liberty. And I think it's this liberty that will literally show how unique this game is compared to, say, other Arkham games. Because if you guys remember, many have actually said that this reboot of the Gotham Knights game is designed to have its own unique take. And I think with that will have to come a unique villain that would actually fill up the end game of Gotham Knights. Now, the next question is, what villain would do a good job, or what villain would be intriguing or engaging enough to be able to attract fans? And the answer to that is there are many villains and there are many, bad guys in the rogue gallery that can do this stuff very well, or can be leveraged to be that missing piece of the puzzle for endgame and for completionists and all of that stuff. And I think at the end of the day, it will have to be something not, just forced in the game. To be very fair, the Riddler did feel very forced in Arkham Knight, in my opinion. I just felt like it was a character that just did not need to be there. And even when Warner Brothers Games Montreal, if they decide that they're going to use another character or another of the villains in the rogue gallery to be the extension of the gameplay, or be the person who basically marks the whole of Gotham with their own emblems and their own whatever, that they don't make that villain forced, but make the villain organic in a way where you say, okay, this villain feels like they're a part of the story, a part of the ecosystem. Because if not, it's just going to be basically another weird fetch quest, series of fetch quests, just like the Riddler was, who would then annoy you, or who would basically make you either quit or just, do it because you're going through the motions. But at any rate, I want to hear your thoughts. What villain do you think can take the place of a Riddler type character, in terms of structure, in terms of gameplay extension, in terms of maybe the annoying theme, or in terms of just that completionist aspect of the Gotham Knights game? I want to hear in the comment section. Thank you so much for your time and audience. I appreciate you guys so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button, and hopefully we'll see in another video. Peace.